Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We are working on this fish page. This is episode 195. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you are returning. We are using Pablos on this fish page. I gave myself a whole bunch of homework and I finished as much as I could, but Hub has now gone off to take his nap, so I need to be coloring and filming while he does that. That is how this particular daily color began. So I still have some finishing all the way down the right side here. I do also see some tooth in the background. We'll talk a little bit about the Pablo pencils in general as I am coloring, but I do want to get started. I have each time I do a page, I kind of vary what it is I am doing. So for this particular one, I did map out some color schemes. I will tell you roughly. I will have, of course, the color numbers up on the description. I've got purple, aqua, a repeat of the background colors, that is, a salmon red, olive greens, bright greens, and orange. So that's kind of the colors. I have tried my best to get everything lined up here on my Lazy Susan properly, and we will see how well I do. And then I have already pulled, I think I need to focus. I have pulled tan Mitt gel pens. We will be doing some gel pens at the end, and we will see how far I can get today. We are going to start with a set of light to dark blue. You're going to see that I'm trying to keep my blends all the same and repeated to make a nice balanced picture. We'll see how I do. Okay, very difficult to read numbers. I think we already established that yesterday. I am starting with indigo blue. This was the darkest blue on the background, so where I'm going to use it needs to be far enough away from the background. So I have a few places that I have designated this combo. So 139, blue jeans 155, and 371 bluish pale. My favorite color is actually, I love this blue jeans color. So we're going to start in the bottom corner and do this urchin shell. There's a few of these urchin shells in here, and urchins, when they're alive, they can be very vibrant colored, unless all of my images on the internet through Google search are using filters or doing custom things. But to me, they are when they're alive, they're some really beautiful urchins, and they usually have spines. And so these are laying in the bottom and they are not spiny, so we've got these little urchin shells, and to me they're just shells. That is all I know about sea urchins. I've done some artwork by Ruby Charm Colors where I had to do some research because she also had a whole bunch of urchins, some with the spines and some without, you know, with like the dots where the spines once were and all that. So I'm just doing whatever colors I want. I have decided there are no rules here, and I wanted bright colors. So a little bit about the Pablos. Doing the background, these are a layering pencil. You probably could do heavy pressure. I'm just not a heavy pressure person, and these will layer for days. You can layer upon layer. They don't ever do the burnished finish very easily, and if you keep with light layers, you can really get a lot of depth. You can mix colors together. They're a very nice color mixing type of a pencil. They are quiet. And they never get sticky because they don't burnish. They also don't ever get that slick surface at the end. I've gotten a lot of layers on this background, and it does not have that blinding shine that they get. And so this is definitely for a person, if you like to fuss, and if you like to mix your own colors, and you like to take a long time, not necessarily if you like to be slow, but if you enjoy taking a lot of time. Because I'm a slow colorist, and what these do for me is they make me even slower. I do love that I don't have a limit. I don't feel that there's that I have to be aware that at some point in the next, layer and a half, these are going to turn slick on me. So I need to get whatever vibrancy or whatever transitions I need to establish if I want to have a nice ombre look from one color to another in my blends. I just don't have to worry about hitting the wall with these pencils. So that's what I do like about them. I do find in general that even on a very smooth paper, because they don't tend to burnish, they do leave more tooth, even on this very smooth paper. And you'll see when we do the review, which is going to be next, is the weekly review. I will talk a little bit more about that. And then I will also be doing, this is my final project, and I will be doing a detailed walkthrough of these, and will give you a lot more thoughts about these pencils, and we will do some tests together. These are one of the pencils I've owned the longest. But for owning them the longest, they are the final set of professional pencils that I purchased. Back in the day, I started with the Albrecht Dürer, which is really too bad because I just am so completely enamored with colored pencils dry that I have done nothing with those. Even my colored pencils that I use, it's a very small set for card making. That is the brand that I'm a demonstrator for. I use them dry. I don't even use them wet. I just really, really enjoy coloring dry with just regular pencils, all different kinds. So these were the final set. I started out with a list of pencils to get for Bonnie Snowden's tutorials. I was at the beginning, I thought I would try using some other pencils, and that didn't go so well, so I ended up buying the full set of polychromos first, after I owned the 60 set of the Albrecht Dürer. And I was struggling. I needed to have all of those animal portrait colors. And I didn't, I'd already bought the 60 tin of the Albrecht Dürer, and I really wanted the polychromos badly. So that was my first set. From there, I then got the 72 luminance. There were just a very few of the museum aquarelle. I did get the Derwent drawing somewhere in there. I believe the fourth set was the Light Fast, which I don't get along with as well as the others. I get along really well with these. I kind of went a little dark there. That's not what I wanted. So see how they still will fill in the tooth in one layer like that did right there. And that's not what I wanted. So I am going to have to come back and erase that. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to stop because I do want to finish this whole scene at the bottom. So that was the order, and then at the very end I decided to go all in for the Pablos. I know that there are only certain colors that Bonnie uses in her tutorials, but I still really wanted the full set. I had read good things about them. I knew that they were a pencil that were a layering pencil, that you didn't hit the wall with your layers. The luminance, you can't layer those for days. At least I can't. It is very possible. I'm kind of a self-taught person, and that means that there might be some tricks that I do not understand. So take what I say with, if you're like, that's not what I've experienced, it is entirely possible that you have figured these things out. So I think that looks great. I'll smooth it out later. I'm going to move to my next blue. I have 2 more blue pieces down here. When I am putting together like a layout or a design, I try to do odds as much as possible. I don't mind doing 4, but I definitely prefer not to have 2. Let's see. And like I have a couple of 2s down there on my scene. This particular feathery looking arrangement is 4. So nope, I have 5. I have an odd number on that one too. That's purple. I'm doing violet for that. So the hexagonal, I already talked about the fact that I drop pencils on the floor over here and it drives me crazy. And the hexagonal pencils just don't do that, and it's lovely. That is a huge plus. I do not like how tiny the numbers are, though. It makes it really difficult. Very, very difficult. So we leave in a couple of days, and I am sort of working ahead of schedule because I want to be able to not, be super stressed the day before we leave. So I do this more on the other channel, but I haven't done this much at all on this channel where I pre-film. I prefer to kind of film as I go. I lose track when I film too far in advance, and so my preference is to film and post within a day or 2. That is my preference. So one time on the other channel, I had made a whole bunch of cards and got behind on filming. I believe I even went to an event, and we just crafted and made so many cards that weekend that I decided I think it was maybe February, so I decided to make a March Madness after the March Madness of basketball, I believe. And so I filmed every single day, which is something I do the daily color 6 days a week. And I really enjoyed it, but when I worked too far ahead, it then, got a little confusing to me. When I'm going through supplies, the lucky thing for people who do pencil videos is the supplies lists are pretty, yes, you have to put the individual color names and numbers, but the supplies is a set of pencils, paper, a set of gel pens, and that is a lot easier than having to itemize a crafted card that has like 10 different supplies in it, and it uses like 3 different colors. So you purchase those 3 colors as individual pieces, not a set. So I don't like that part. I love that the simplicity of the supplies that I can have, and I only own so many sets of pencils. So there's my other use of the dark. I noticed that this urchin shell, I really like it a lot. It goes darker, so I am going to try to get into the crannies here a little bit. These do have an appearance, because they don't shine readily, they do a little bit what the Polychromos did on that one rosette where I told you guys that it just looked really flat to me. This is a pencil that has a fairly flat look because it's dry. Okay, so that's that. What else is going to get blue? So that is all at the bottom. I am going to move, I'm even going to turn upside down. Let's just do it. One other place here that I want is another 3. That way I can put these pencils down. It is all that I'm going to use for this particular combo. A couple of my combos have more than 3. I have up to 5. And this is the indigo, again, that is the darkest part of the background. But my blend for the water, of course, didn't go to this denim blue. It went to the teals. And I do have some teals also that I am using on the bottom. I don't have them. There's actually 2 items up here at the top that I have not designated what color they're going to be, because I will decide at the end. I will probably wait on those items till the very, very end after the fish are colored. And I am thinking that depending on how fast or slow I go, the fish might be a surprise. Right smack in the middle. Again, I try to make things different. I often will save, so that's done. We are going to change colors at this point. I'm going to put these away. I think I'm going to do the purple, the big fan purple bits. That is a 4-color, nope. Yep, 4-color blend. So I lost my train of thought. I'm sure I will think of it. Let's get these colors. I almost wrote down my numbers, but I was kind of taking too long. Here you can see this is a little bit more violet. Then we go into a periwinkle blue. I can't read that. Oh, I do have the royal blue in here. Okay. So here we go. 111, mauve. Mauve, some people call it mauve. Periwinkle blue, 131. Royal blue, I'm going to pull this out, and I think I actually want to go one lighter. I have to grab that lighter. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, lilac. And I think lilac goes right here in between. I had to pull it from another combo. Some pencils are used twice. All right, so we go from 111 to 110 to 131 and then 120. Starting with the darks. The darkest one, which is violet. So in some cases you'll see that I've used a little different technique for the blend. This fan, I am going to be not doing any individual lines. I mean, I could do something like this all the way to the top, and you'll see a little bit of the effect of that when we hit the lighter colors. My mock-up, because of the interest of time, I did not go into a lot of detail about what my specific plan was for each of the elements. So I'm kind of working on the fly. Hey, we have thunder again. You know, it's supposed to be the rainy season, but we have not had a lot of rain this summer. It did rain earlier. It was totally sunny and 96 degrees, and it just started raining. So I opened the door, and I had to look at the temperature because I'm like, wow, that is really hot. So it is really something to be in the south and have it be sunny and have big raindrops coming down. It is quite something. Because where I am from in Washington State, if it's raining, it's not 96 degrees. It's typically cold. Cold and miserable. I'm going to make this super long one a little bit darker for longer. So I have been researching different ways to make these elements white, and I've now got the different inks that I can brush on, as well as the three different I have three different white pens. So up and coming, probably not while I'm traveling because I won't have all these different materials with me, but I will be when I come back. I'm excited to do some whites. I've done little bits of white here and there. I don't feel I'm very good at it, and I need lots of practice with it. And who knows, maybe I'll decide that is just not my thing. I am hoping that these dark lines will make some sort of an interesting dimensional bit of interest on these long fans. Okay, so that's the darkest. I am going to set it down because my hand is full. The next darkest is lilac. Am I going to say it's lilac, or is it periwinkle blue? I'm going to make it lilac. I think they're probably pretty close. I really enjoy that I can like meld two colors together and they will make a third color. I think that's my favorite way to use these, is to take the lighter colors and go all the way across the dark. I did go quite far when I was doing the background. I noticed that I did make my crossover point from one color to the next very, very long, a big space. And let's see, if I was thinking of what is missing or what I would like to see color-wise in the Pablos that isn't there, there are some, but by saying they're missing, it means I have to make it. At least these pencils, because of the way they work, I can say that I need a color, And I am not afraid at all of combining 2 or 3 colors to come up with a third color. And I have on a larger piece that I did finally finish, I did just that in some places. Just invented my own colors. And I actually did that a little on this as well. Let's go to the periwinkle blue. Let's see what we've got. Again, I'm going all across the 2 darker colors. So to eliminate the tooth with this, these pencils, which I just feel, I don't feel like using heavy pressure to do it. But you do need to finally at the end when you're like, okay, they try to bait you into continuing to use light pressure, but at some point you have to go with heavy pressure to get the final surface smooth. And then I am inclined to use a blending pencil. Most other pencil sets, I don't feel that way, but because these are such slow pencils and I am a slow colorist, I have been using the Caran blender pencil. I'm going to change angles, and that means I will twist my camera. Let's check and make sure we are focused. I'm going to set those 2 down. All right, that looks good. I'm going to move over. I want to get a nicer angle here. Okay, I wish there was a super light purple. There's a very light pink, there's a very light green, there's a light beige that I noticed it's somewhat purpley, like violet-esque, little violet. I'll even show it up above when we finish this. For the cavern walls, I kind of came up with a new color using 3. The charcoal gray, aubergine, and grayish beige, I think is what it's called. It had a little bit of a pinky purple hue to it, and it did a really good job on the wall that I still need to finish. So yeah, I'm coming all the way down here. This is my lightest color. So see, I'm sort of using it to do the burnish, but I would love it to be lighter than it is. All right, I have one more small fan that gets to be purple. I may or may not, these tips I'm leaving alone. Again, I would love to be able to have a very light purple, but what I could do, and I've got a shift. What I could do is use the blender pencil and go all the way out to the end and stretch this last color. That's probably what I'll end up doing. So at least for feeling like I would love there to be a light purple, I know that I can create it by stretching this color, because that's how these pencils will work. Okay, so we're going to leave that as is. We're going to move right along. I kind of have my 4 pencils scattered about. Grabbing the dark, there's this little fan shell right here, and I decided it looked close enough to the large fans Oh, I hope this is not the right color. Look at that. I have to find it. So that's going to come out a little different, and I'm okay with that. They don't have to all look the same. That was charcoal gray. This is the violet. Again, I'm going to extend the color. And let's see, next color. Lilac. Okay. I don't even need 4. I'm going to go right to whatever the lightest, oh, mauve. Again, leaving the tips like so. And that is the end of the purple. I'm going to set them down. I do want to grab that gray that I just had because these urchins, I want to fill in the holes. There's some really nice elements on this particular page that are just begging to have gel pen on them. For fun, I'm going to totally change gears and do the 2. And they put 2, so that's all I get to do with this. 2 starfish. I am using Flame Red 50, and I'm grabbing a little bit darker Vermilion 60. The Flame Red I was just using for a moment. I will be rotating my page. To go to this bigger starfish, starting with that vermilion red again. This one's actually big enough to be a little more interesting. I have a final special color to put on them. That is I'm looking for it. Oh, that is 60. All right, rotating all the way around to this very light. See, they have a beautiful light apricot, which is a lovely light orange. Their green is equally as lovely. The blue is lovely. They just don't have a really light lavender for me. All right, down here, to fill that in. All right, I am going to now rotate back around, and I am going to find a nice place for this to sit. And the flame red, which is my dark orange, I'm going to grab the teals, and we are going to these are very small spaces, so some of them will get 2 and some of them will get 3. We've got these are the watercolor, light green 161, I think, opaline green 195, and malachite green 180. So the places I have designated are these little undetailed circles. They're kind of in the background, like space filler. And I do have a darker color I might introduce, darker than this one. You know, like this one in the very back, as well as these two. I might want to come back in with a darker. Okay. These little guys. And I have a possible change in my mind for another place I used this color set. That I have colored this way, and I'm going to go ahead and let those sit uncolored for a while. We'll see if something makes me change my mind that I see as I'm filling all these in. Because after I colored them, I'm like, I don't know if I want those to be that color. All right, moving to the lightest of the three is the light green, which is a lovely light green, but it is, I don't know why it's called light green, because it is very much light turquoise. There are actually two other light greens that are green. You know, there's a limey color and another. So we have lots of light green shades. I am leaving little bits of the tops as well. Okay, so for now, that is all I have designated, leaving the one other element that I did make that color, leaving them not that color. Then I have more green. We'll just work on green for a little while. So a vibrant green, or lime green, if we want to call it that. Starting with 230, yellow green, grass green 220, and emerald green 210. And I am going to be coloring these fun elements. I did pull, should be very nearby, right here. I have dark green 229, so I did make this a blend of 4. And I didn't, I was contemplating using charcoal gray as a really dark in conjunction with whatever my color was going to be. But then I went, no, I want to make this be very vibrant. So given that, I won't be using the charcoal gray as much as I had initially thought. This really thin tendril, for whatever reason, just looks like a Dr. Seuss thing to me. I love Dr. Seuss. I'm going to go ahead and darken there's some dashes and some dots. All right, so that's that dark green. And then I have back to emerald green, 210. I will already say we might have to go long today, because I'd like to get as much done as I can with you guys. All right, so I have noticed, and I will say that the darker pigmented colors are a little bit noisier when you use them, because this already is a dry pencil. And this one, I think this is the loudest color I've used. And we're just lovely light tendrils. Okay, next lightest color is grass green, 220. Yeah, we're already at 45 minutes. I have to hurry. Okay. This is the lightest green, which is yellow green, 230. It almost doesn't go with the color next to it, but I'm making it work. Okay, I might be using that set again, so I'm gonna set those off to the side, and I'm gonna grab the olive blend, which is 5. But there is a reason why there's 5. There is room for 5 because we're doing the long tendrils at the bottom and the long tendrils coming down from the top. Starting with the darkest color, which is olive black, 019. Lovely color. And when you're doing your coloring and you have things in the background, don't be afraid to decide they're so far behind that they don't get a lot of variation in color. Just leave them dark. That is okay. And it makes it more interesting. And I'm softening up the tops to get ready for a blend. The next color is olive, plain old olive. This blend is just a really lovely set. They go together so nice. Moving on to khaki green. I can't read that number. 16, I think. We're not even there yet. Light olive, 245. Very lightest color, olive yellow, 15. I guess that other one is not 15. Did I say that might be 16? All right, I am going to work on an urchin. And this is it. Going to the darkest, I think this was olive black, wasn't it? Yep, olive black. Okay, I do want to make a change. I need to flip-flop. So this is going to be a spongy kind of a thing. Okay, moving to one lighter, olive. A little bit lighter, khaki green. Okay, and I forgot that I'm supposed to be coloring. I'm going to go back to one darker. And I want to make sure I change my angle of my clipboard, and then that changes the distance, which changes the focus. All right, I am even gonna go darker. This color was too close to the starfish color, the color I had originally designated this to be. Now we're going to some of these lighter colors. Khaki green. I wanted to have this look somewhat fluffy, not totally fluffy, but it definitely is sponge-like. Probably is a sea sponge. Next one is a light olive. Okay, for now I think I'm going to leave this one looking just like that. I would like this to be a little darker down here. Again, seeing places where charcoal gray may at the end be added just as a little bit to make the colors pop a tiny bit more. Okay, that is the end of the, oh no, I have to do these tendrils up at the top. All right, let's go 10 more minutes and see what we can accomplish. This is where I've got a blend of 3 colors, the charcoal gray, aubergine, and grayish beige. And I'm not all the way done with the layering it up. Okay, those will be dark, that'll be dark. So some of these tendrils I want to have look much further away. The next is olive. I'm very happy with their moss or olive set of colors. They've got a lot of greens and there's a lot of blues in this set. A ton of blues. All right, working our way to the lighter colors. Khaki green. That isn't what I already had, is it? Nope, that looks lighter. We still have 2 lighter colors to go. Olive, light olive. And the lightest color is olive yellow. Okay, finished with that. Okay, next. I am going to move on to, I have one more element that I made a purple, but a lighter set of purples, but we're going to skip that and go on to sort of a color called Poppy. It's a color combo, and it goes from like a deep burgundy purple all the way to vermilion red. And then I even have a lighter. This is where I put the pink and peach. So this is a 5 color blend. All these crazy colors that I'm going to vary how I apply them. So we go from, the lightest colors are apricot, salmon pink. The numbers are 4171. Yeah, vermilion is 60. Indian red, 75. And I can't read that. Aubergine, 99, I believe. So we're going to be putting this around here on a few different shapes. Okay, and I think we're going to do this right here. And I told you I had another, like a, but that's too light. I have one more place. That I might change my mind on. So clearly this, the way I've done this one on this, the right side, it's not going to be able to go all 5 colors. The next color for this is Indian Red. I will be putting a smattering of Indian Red. And this urchin is going to be kind of fluffy. I think that this type has just a bumpy surface, so I'm just kind of doing more loose circles as a hint. Moving now to vermilion. So already over here we're probably done. We can't go much lighter because there's not much more surface to use. And I will save the peach color. The apricot is what it is. I just really like this particular combo is really fun. It is called Poppy. All right, so getting that all pretty. Going to one lighter. Now this is pink. I'm gonna skip the pink there. I'm gonna use this pink to just kind of fluff this one up. Same with this one. Okay, now we're going to the apricot. And over here, I want the apricot the lightest color, like so. And then the apricot, I just really like that. Okay, so there is something I forgot. And how are we doing? Okay, 58 minutes. Let's see what else can we get done. I need the charcoal gray for this urchin. And this particular urchin is, I'm going to do it. I am going to make this one be emphasizing so it's going to be darker than the other 3. Okay, going to the Indian Red. Moving on to vermilion. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that I need to color on Sunday because there's too much left to just say that the rest of it is a surprise. You guys need to be involved with the rest of this. So I am going to do an extra hour. So you can, so there'll be another segment of this pushed live, and then we will do the review. All right, so we kind of have this style. Oops, and this isn't supposed to be pink. I would rather have it be the apricot. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. We're at exactly an hour. I'm going to stop now. Bid you all goodbye. Have a great evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you're watching this. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. And we are going to have one more episode of this to finish it up. We'll see you then.